Alright, this video we're just going to take a look at a vertical shift. Okay, we're just going to do number 14. It's cosecant. So you can see already I changed the equation to a sine curve. I'll graph the sine curve, and then I'll graph the parabolas, which will give you cosecant. Now, common mistake, a lot of students look at this and think, oh, you just move it to the right one. It's going to start at x equals 1. But there are no parentheses. So this -1, that's a vertical shift. Remember, the vertical shift equals the equilibrium. So if I want to get the y values for the sine wave, -1, that's the equilibrium. Now the amplitude is just 1. So if I add 1 to -1, the max is 0. If I take away 1 from -1, the minimum is -2. So these are the y values when I graph sine. Alright, let's take care of everything else. The period, well, it's just x right here, so it's 2 pi. Now since you don't have parentheses, you're going to start at x equals 0. I'm not shifting it left or right. I'm shifting everything down 1 unit. So this is going to be x equals 0, and then we're going to end at the period, x equals 2 pi. So that's easy enough. Remember CV, that's the increments. So we'll say 2 pi, we know this, we've dealt with this, 2 pi over 4. That reduces to half a pi, or pi over 2. Okay, so our key points, we're going to start at 0. Okay, add pi over 2 to it, so you get pi over 2. Pi over 2 plus pi over 2 is pi. I add half a pi to that, we get 3 pi over 2. Add half a pi to that, and we get 2 pi. Alright, so we're looking at sine. Sine always starts at the equilibrium. So it's going to be at -1. Now since there's this negative here, it's going to be -1, and the second y value is going to be -2. So let's see here. We start at the equilibrium of -1. Then we go down to -2. We come back up to the equilibrium of -1. Then we go to the max of 0. Come back down to the equilibrium of -1. Alright, so let's graph this. Let's put the sine curve up here first. So we have 0, -1, which is right here. Pi over 2 is at -2. That's the minimum. We'll say the next one's pi, which is at -1. Then we have 3 pi over 2. That's at the max, which is 0. Then at 2 pi, we're back at the equilibrium of -1. So if I connect this, the sine curve, this is what it looks like. Oops. Alright. Now real easy to just change it to cosecant. I look at the max. I share this point at the max. It goes up. I look at the minimum, which is right here. The parabola goes down. Then the other three are the middle points of the equilibrium. It's a VA here, a VA at, what is it, pi. This is pi is a VA. And at 2 pi is a VA. So I even can just, at -1 was the middle points. I could change this to a VA, change this to a VA, change that to a VA. Remember, every other key point is always going to be a VA. Now, if I actually did, I do have enough time. I want to do domain and range. Domain, remember, it's all real numbers except the VAs. Now, since it starts at 0, the distance between these, right, 0 is a VA, and pi is a VA, and 2 pi is a VA. Well, the distance between all those is pi, so I just say it's pi n. N can represent any integer. The range, well, now I look at the gaps. Let's see here. It's from -infinity, and then this, you can see this y value right here is -2. Okay, I put union, and then it starts up here, so this y value is 0, so you go from 0 to +infinity. Okay, so no parentheses. I'm not moving it left or right. This, I just moved everything down 1 unit.